Grateful that you stayed on with us here on Channel One Television. This is Breakfast Daily, and it's now time for the news review segment. As established already, there's so much to chew on. Today happens to be a very busy day in our democratic dispensation, and so a lot from Parliament, a lot regarding the inauguration of the president-elect, and of course a lot regarding the disputed constituencies. Out of that, of course, we are recording some disasters, some fire outbreaks or fire incidents across certain markets in the country. We'll be getting into details of all of that. Joining me in studio this morning, Ibrahim Ejay, Assistant Secretary, Office of the President. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I
think I'm to you.
Oh,
Amen. 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 First off, have you done your handing over notes?
Yes, yes.
So you've handed over?
Yes.
You're out of office?
Yes.
So that means you're no longer Assistant Secretary of the President?
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow?
Yeah, we're still a post.
Yes.
But the handing over notes have been done. We're still a post.
Great.
Government is a continuum.
Exactly.
You know, it's just like imagine you're a doctor on a shift. Your shift finishes at 12.
Yeah.
At 11:59 p.m. or a.m., whatever the 12 o'clock we're looking at, you're still on duty until you, the other doctor comes in. So that's how it is. Yeah.
Great.
So I'm still the Assistant Secretary at the Office of the President. 24 hours.
What was it like, though?
What is it like?
I mean, the transition, knowing that you've served, your time is due, it's time to bow out for the next person to take over.
It's been very fluid. It's not the first time. We did it in 2008, if you recall. But specifically in 2017, you know, witnessing the transfer from former President John Dramani Mahama, now President-elect Mahama's administration to Akufo-Addo's administration, you saw how fluid it is. And I think that's where Ghana is really, really blessed. And I say that not that Ghana is somehow unique within the democratic ecosystem, but I think we are special when it comes to Africa. We see that it's a battle of ideas. I'm talking the political arena. It's a battle of ideas. And when one party wins, the other party, you know, does what it can to continue the main agenda, which is Ghana. We only have one agenda, and that is Project Ghana. So I do my bit, you win the battle of ideas for a cycle, then you come and we do our best to work together. So it's been very fluid. There's no animosity, antagonism, you know, on both parties. It's been very fluid.
It's interesting when, I mean, we hear you guys speak like this. It's just that we hope it's actually practicalized, because for me, where I said, I think the biggest bane of our development as a country is that we do not have policies that transcend political parties or political administrations. And so we see projects that commence under one administration, the next administration comes, and it's stalled.
Well, we have
whatever
the policy.
reason.
The policies are there. NDPC, National Development Planning Commission. You know, it's part.
But we do not see that continuity.
Yeah, but that's down to the people. But you see continuity in parts. I think you saw that under President Akufo-Addo. A lot of the projects under John Dramani Mahama, former president and now elect, have been continued. And Ghana is still a work in progress. We're not the finished article.
Of course, it's not an overnight project.
Yes, and I think I've heard President-elect John Dramani Mahama mention that he will, as a policy, make sure that any projects started by President Akufo-Addo will be completed by him. So we're getting there.
Great. All right. Okay, let's get into the stories. And of course, biggest one will be from Parliament. We've seen a statement from the Office of the President-elect endorsing the President-elect John Dramani Mahama endorsing the Speaker, Alban Kingsford Bagbin, as Speaker for the 9th of Parliament. The Speaker subsequently has accepted the nomination and, of course, has issued a statement. Before I get into that, let me welcome into the studio Victor Kwajoga Adaudu. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year to my brother.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
And all the workers here and all our friends and the citizens in general.
Very well.
It's a happy New Year. It's a year of progress.
Amen.
It's a year of hard work.
Yeah, there's a lot of work ahead. There's a lot of work ahead. Well, it's good to have you gentlemen in the studio. And of course, that's established. We're going to Parliament. President-elect John Dramani Mahama endorsing or nominating Speaker Alban Bagbin for the 9th Parliament to be retained as Speaker. There are certain factions that are not too happy with the President-elect's nomination. Others have okayed it. I don't know where you stand on this. Are you okay with the President-elect endorsing Speaker Bagbin?
Oh, very much so. I think what Honourable Alban Bagbin has shown during the last Parliament, 8th Parliament, he has that institutional memory.
Yeah.
I believe he's a fair leader. He can be biased, given where he comes from politically, but overall, he's been very, very fair, I think. And he's been forthright. You know, he's aimed to make sure that Parliament's rights have come to the fore in terms of its dealings with the executive. And then you want that. You want that independence of that particular arm. You know, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. And I think he's done that very, very well. Apart from the, as I say, the institutional memory, you want somebody who knows the craft. It's law and the workings of law. I mean, standing orders, all of these things takes a strong leader with the requisite intellect to maneuver Parliament. You know, that's the lawmaking arm of government, and make sure that everybody follows protocol. You know, and then being, an adjudicator where necessary. I also liked how he infused originality and ingenuity within our Parliament. I'm one of the people who want that we remove some of the colonial hangovers and how we do things. So when he would come dressed within our cultural attire, it sends a message, both to Ghanaians, Africans, and the world at large, that this is a Ghanaian Parliament. We don't have to copy and paste what was bequeathed to us or left to us by colonial times. And that's just an aside. I like that mindset that I'm creating a Ghanaian Parliament and what have you. But then again, you want somebody who is fair, who is a leader, and who can manage the affairs of Parliament. And I think he's done that so well that I would second, or rather support, President-elect John Dramani Mahama's endorsement of Honourable Alban Bagbin.
Great stuff. Victor, I mean, the Right Honourable Speaker, he has served as Member of Parliament for Nadoli. He served in the position of Minority Leader, served in the position as Majority Leader, served as Speaker of the 8th Parliament.
Second Deputy Speaker.
Second Deputy Speaker, and before Speaker. And now he's receiving this endorsement, this renomination into the 9th Parliament. What do you make of his, I mean, not necessarily his track record over the years, but of course his stewardship in Parliament, rising to the position of Speaker?
I think let me congratulate him in the first place, and also congratulate him for what he's done. He's achieved for himself, for the nation, and like my brother said, the institutional memory. He's a whole institution on its own. And I think that he brings to the speakership the maturity, the objectivity, and, you know, what was the objectivity? Our own people sometimes had issues with him. I'm sure that when Honorable Haruna and Muntaka, they had issues with him because they felt that things that should have been done partisan, or we should have a position, he had a different distance with him. And the same. So if both parties have issues with you, then that means you are doing something right. And I think that it just reminds me of 2005, when I think Peter Alajete was tall. He was a towering image, and as a speaker, even the minority then felt that they should give him the second chance. And he was the minority leader at the time that proposed him. It tells you that when you see good in somebody, irrespective of where the person comes from, you need to push him. I think the account says that the person who climbs, who is climbing a tree with good things has to be pushed. So I think that he's done well. And in the few days, he has also demonstrated that we need to strengthen the legislature. And although there were some few hiccups between the legislature, speaker, and the judiciary, at the end of the day, some kind of maturity was used to resolve some of the issue. And I think that to strengthen it, once he's there and can chaperone everybody and also develop the younger ones who are coming. And I think is that because when you go to mostly, once the people have to call him speaker, they don't even call him speaker. They call him father. They call him father because he chaperones them and tells them he thinks this is good, this is not right. So I think it is good. Where some people were having like issues that he was mandated, the MPs elect have been mandated that they should nominate him. I think that people, yes, there's some sense in it when you look at it where they think that it is the president-elect who is nominating or who is mandating the MPs to do it, so he may become subservient to the executive. But you see, the other side of it is that with our constitution, the NDC, when the president is elected, there is a president, he becomes the leader of the party. It is when we are in opposition that the national chairman is the leader. So once he's the leader and has conferred with the leadership and the rest, he's putting on different hats. So I'm sure people did not understand that. That is why they are saying that the president-elect has mandated. It was the whole party, and he's the leader of the party. So that was the role he was performing. But it's not like executive is saying we are nominating and we are imposing this person on you. I don't think that was it. I'm sure the party sat down. They felt that what has been done, the political committee and the rest sat down, and they felt that he will leave a better and good legacy. And even if you look at him, alternatively, who was in to stand in that big shoe? Nobody for now could have come availably and say that this man will stand in this big shoe, especially looking at how Parliament was when we had a hang Parliament and how he had to maneuver and make sure he brings the leadership together, sometimes consensus, sometimes we see them flaring up. I just pray that the way it started, it will also end well, so that we see the 9th Parliament and see what the 9th Parliament can do for Ghanaians.
It's important you mentioned the nature of the 8th Parliament and it being hung, because that's what I was coming to, and whether we foresee a change in the leadership style of Speaker Bagbin due to the dynamics, the characteristics of the 8th Parliament, how the numbers were split on both sides, and how he navigated his way as a leader. And then, of course, coming into the 9th Parliament, where there's an overwhelming majority against the MPP's minority. Do you foresee a change in his leadership style?
I don't think a change in the leadership style. If you recall, when he was Deputy Speaker, the style remains the same. Forthright, determined, principled, in terms of the, style. But in terms of substance, I think the substance will change. And I say that because given the dynamics of how the NDC has a overwhelming majority, the back and forth, the intransigence, because it's a one-seat difference, how many people are there, is somebody from either side, I'm talking MPP or MPP or NDC, not available to come to Parliament and vote. These dynamics no longer exist, given the majority that the NDC have. And therefore, that brinkmanship on certain policies, if we don't have this, I'll do this, and some kind of filibustering from either side, that by and large will go out of the window. And then that will leave Honorable Alban Bagbin with little to do in terms of, the fathering, the consensus making, knocking heads behind the doors and say, Charlie, let's work on this matter. So the substance will change, but not the style, I don't think.
Victor, I mean, this Parliament will have a lot of newbies, first-timers. So I think at this point, would he need to intensify that father figure, the fathership type of role?
Yeah, definitely. I think I have a contrary view to what, in terms of the
what
substance.
Ibrahim is saying on the substance.
In terms of the substance. Now, it's not going to be more of like negotiations or building consensus. Yeah, they will have to build consensus. But since the NDC has majority, it makes the work of the speaker a little bit easier. Now, when you are a member of parliament elect or a member of parliament, it's not going to be like we need you so much, especially within the minority.
Yeah.
It is going to be determined by your work, still coming to substance. The kind of work you put in, you study, and when you catch the eye of the speaker, what you say, and the kind of work you do at the committee level will be what will bring you out as an MP who is doing well.
Yes.
It's not going to be, because now everybody has to justify the work he's doing. It's not going to be like filibustering or always making noise. People will want to see what kind of policies, the work you are putting in the committee work. That's going to bring what will be outstanding. Because, and especially for the minority, right? For the minority, when they catch the eye of the speaker, they must speak. Everybody must say that this man is speaking with knowledge, wisdom, and he's applying wisdom. That's what the people will want to see, and see that, yes, there is a policy that has come, or the law. How do you critique the law? What are the alternatives that you make? Unlike, because this time we are so many, and nobody is going to call you that we need you for consensus. This is all the horse trading that comes in between. No, it's not going to be there. So it is your work that is going to define you as an MP now. And everybody will be looking up to you, because it shouldn't be the way. I think that the minority has a lot of work to do, because it shouldn't be the way that, look, NDC has almost over 2/3 majority. So everything they will be agreed to or creep into line. But it is on the minority to say this should be alternative to what we are saying. And I'm sure within the majority itself, they will also want to self-critique and critique some of their policies, so that it doesn't look like we allow the executive to have its way. Example was when we had the 1993 parliament, when NPP decided that they were not going, the stolen verdict. I think it was consciously they brought in the NCP, who took the second deputy speaker position, and look, they were criticizing themselves. Even some of the policies that were brought by Jerry John Rawlings were thrown out. And some of those members of parliament who threw the things out later became enemy of the system. But the first parliament, I was having some discussions with Honorable Kendriasa sometime, and he tells me the kind of things they had to do before the speaker, D.F. Annan. So some of the things they criticize, D.F. Annan will come in and they sit down, then he says, look, yes, you are making a good point. Although most of them were in camera. So I think that the NDC also has, the majority, has a duty for the people to know that this overwhelming majority that has been given, it's not on a silver platter that go and do what. No, it is for the benefit of the society. Society believes that the nation was not going right, we were retrogressing. So they are imposing a duty to make sure that we are sending you there, make sure that you reverse, reset. And election has become a tool of accountability. I'm telling you that, look, if we don't do that hard work, and the people see that, look, things are tough, but you've done creditably, your output has been okay, it will not be well for us. And that is what we need to learn. There is a lot that we need to learn. And I'm sure that the NPP itself is also learning and so reflecting and say, oh, we should have done it this way, we should have done it this way. And I think that it gives us the opportunity to be able to say, this would have been a better. There should be always an alternative. Alternative. We should not say that, look, we are in government, this is what we have to do. What is the alternative? And what is the public opinion? The public opinion, it's sometimes very huge.
Exactly.
And people would kill down. These days, even when people were vociferous, they would be saying it. This is, you don't see it. When they are saying it 1, 2, and you don't listen, they keep quiet. And when elections come, that's what the verdict will come.
Victor, when you were giving the account of the critique, the self-critique in the 1993 Parliament, you have to also include Honorable Howard, MP for Pusiga. You remember?
Yes.
You know, she was independent. She became, in addition to what you just mentioned about NDC MPs being self-critiquing or self-policing, Honorable Howard was also a vanguard, a voice for, let's say, the then absent opposition, you know. So just to give credit to her as well.
Oh yes, she was very tall in Parliament. Yes, and you know, she also had a way to maneuver her way throughout. You see, and at that time, it also comes to resources, because she was well resourced.
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to Honorable Dominic Ayeni. At the time. At the time, he was a law student, and he was saying that he was engaged by Mensa, the Electoral Commission place. IE. So IE engaged this law student, brilliant, who would do research, you know, and give it to her. So they do research, they do a lot of things, and feed her with the information that made her to stand tall. So it is time that once you are an MP and if you want to make an impact, you know, you don't enjoy, the opposition comes with credit to you, but there are people who work, they do the research, and once they give you research, I think that should be one thing we should be looking at. So that once you come, everything you say, it's solid. When we do the fact checks, we can say that yes, he's well reasoned and in-depth. And it's not that you just go there and you become, excuse my language, with all apology, you become part of statistics that you also came in.
You were there some.
Yeah, you were there some. I don't think that is what the constituents are looking for. The constituent wants to see and be proud and say, this is my MP, this is the constituency. And project the name. Well, that's all everybody is looking for now. Project the name of the constituency, and developments coming. You lobby with people that even NGOs will be able to assist you, knowing that if we entrust our confidence in him, he'll be able to also deliver and speak for us.
Very well. It brings me to my final one on this. I mean, going into the 9th Parliament, the NPP, we know, has already put out its leadership, retaining Apenyo
Markins.
Patricia PJ, Habib, and then Arnaud Dompré. It's Frank Davis, not Frank Davis, sorry, OPK. We're not too sure. We understand Jerry Ahmed Shaib will be coming in to replace
as a second deputy whip.
Yes, exactly. But the NDC is yet to communicate its leadership. But my question really has to do with the posturing of leadership on both sides going into the 9th Parliament to ensure effective administration of the House. What should be the posturing of leadership?
I think the posturing needs to be one of accountability. From the minority side, government is checks and balances.
Exactly.
But as I mentioned earlier, the goal remains the same. Ghana's advancements, prosperity, development, unity, and all the positive accolades and attributes that we want as leaders. That remains the goal of all parties. In the process of reaching that goal, or goals, Ghana's agenda, Parliament has to have a check and a balance. And so the posture has to be goal-oriented, but I need to check you. I'm talking the minority, and in a constructive way.
Exactly.
It has to be constructive. And I'm happy what Victor mentioned earlier. Having these parliamentary research assistants should be part of the culture, where the budget can afford it, so that it's there, so that you have it as of right, that there's a personnel attached to you, the member of parliament, doing all these, let's say, background work on giving
I think previous parliaments had that. Research assistants attached to the MPs.
Yes. But as a mandatory, somebody who's paid from the public purse, that I don't know.
No, what I know was started maybe from President Mills' time around, was sending national service personnel to be attached.
I recall.
So
To
national
MPs.
service were being attached to MPs. But as to an astute person, who consummate person,
a researcher, properly so-called,
well versed in economics, well versed in law, and others, governance, that will be able to give you a quick snap of issues that you'll be able to raise. As to that, is I think the level that,
and that's what you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming at, because we have a slew of legal firms in Ghana. And within those legal firms or law firms, you have paralegals, whereby they can do an attachment. So you are a paralegal working in the office of, or the law firm of Honorable Victor, and he can assign one of his paralegals to go and work with an MP, for a period, let's say for 1 year. But 1 year is enough, because it's rotational. It's a 4-year period. So then you come and feed that member of parliament or supply them with all the legal ingredients that will anchor the policy that they want to present or defend or promote within Parliament. And I'm talking whether you're a majority or the minority. Because when the minority MPs, as I say, to be constructive and say we find issue with policy A, B, C, because of these laws, because of these facts, having that, as I say, a mandatory, coming from the law industry. It's not like my best friend's daughter is, can come and be my assistant. If he or she qualifies, then why not? But if we can institutionalize it, that members of parliament can draw from the legal firms that we have in Ghana, that will help that constructiveness that I'm advocating for in this 9th parliament. It will really help Ghana. Wisdom is not belonging to the MPP or the NDC. And thankfully so. We know that across both parties, we are very intelligent men and women able to steer the affairs of Ghana. But even in that, you have, with all apologies, people who, let's say, go astray. Intelligent as they are, some bias may lead them to construct a law that is inimical to Ghana's interests. And some people may want to follow like sheep. So I'm talking on the majority side, with all due respect. So you need the minority who can be vocal, because they have nothing to lose. Within the majority, everybody's looking for position. They want to catch the eye of the executive. They want to be on the board. They want to be a CEO. They want to be a deputy, a minister, and so on and so forth. So sometimes there's a lot of condoning something that personally they're not at ease with. They allow it to pass. So that's where the minority have to be very constructive, and piercing, because the minority have to understand this. While you are there in the minority, your goal is to catch the eye of Ghana. Never mind the speaker. Catch the eyes and ears of Ghana. That here we have a party who is abreast with the law and our interests, and can make our voices heard. And then that will enable the minority to gain more support come 2028. So it's a constant work in progress. What the minority MPs need to know, that while you're being constructive, you're also campaigning. And that's the reality. You're campaigning for 2028 and to bring more support to your party, because you've shown that you're giving strong critical leadership. And I think that's what we need in this parliament.
Victor, take on this.
I think that the minority has a lot of work to do. Let me congratulate them on the party. I'm sure the party has taken a lot into consideration. But then I think that they are fine gentlemen, but I think that they need to work on their public image. Because already there is some sense or some resemblance, or the perception is that being part of the majority at the time, they were arrogant. That's a perception. And especially maybe forcefully you want to make an argument, how you make it. Sometimes my father tells me you don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You can always make your point without raising your voice.
Yeah.
So I think that they will have to look at it. And also, they should learn. You know, Alban Bagbin was revealed within the NDC. That was during the 2000 election, when he became the majority leader. Nobody really knew. He was just an MP. Nobody really knew the depth. But it was when he became minority leader, and whilst he criticized, he provides alternative. People realized that, look, when people were asking, oh, so where were all these people when we were in government? I think that that is what the minority should be able to do now, to say that, look, we are able to. So for me, they need to work on their posture. I can't, you know, I'm not saying, they are my friends. Avenue is my friend, you know, and there was something going on, I think it was in Winneba, when they were having victory. I think some pronouncements sometimes you can make it within your caucus, but you don't make it public. Where you say, oh, Efutu is for MPP. We are waiting for them. When there's an MC, they will never get an MC from their fold. So what do you think the other party? So now you've drawn the fourth line. The fourth lines are there. And you are drawing a wedge and say, oh, we see ourselves at MPP. Instead of trying to build consensus and work together for the constituency. But that pronouncement you have made, whether you were not too serious or you were jokingly saying it, once it's getting into the head of the people say, oh no, let's also have strategy for them. That would not augur well. Those are the kind of things that I'm saying that they will need to look at it. Once you need to say it, you can say it without saying that's a lot of work. And I'm sure that the new members who have been brought, maybe Jerry Shaib, I'm sure maybe because of regional balance they may be looking at. That may be why they may replace him, Davis with Jerry Shaib. I know Jerry, I think he's a gentleman, and he should be able to also reveal himself, just like Che Mensa Bonsu. Those days nobody knew Che Mensa Bonsu, but I'm sure once he got there, he learnt it, and you know, people wonder that he's not a lawyer, but he understands. He understands the constitution. He understands the standing orders of Parliament, for Parliament and the procedure. And you know, I'll tell you that when he's speaking, even when there's a pin drop, you can hear when there's a pin drop.
Because everyone is attentively listening.
Attentive. That's the kind of wish we wish for every MP elect. Right? No, everybody has a different reason or vested reason why he wants to become a member of Parliament. But the foremost is you have to make the law. You need to understand the law. You need to appreciate. Once you appreciate it, it's nuances. Like he said, the law is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. So mostly, the people in the hands of the people that the law is placed and how they can twist it, they are the people. Because the law, it says something. Look, for the same proposition, they're different. There can be two schools of thought on the same thing.
True.
And once there are two schools of thought, the person who has it can decide this is how I want to use it.
And in terms of your contribution regarding how the minority, the leadership, can, let's say, reposition themselves. I think looking at the relationship that Honorable Alban Bagbin and Che Mensa Bonsu had over the years, the minority leadership needs to forge a working relationship with the majority leadership in Parliament. It got to a point where Che Mensa Bonsu was adamant that Alban Bagbin should go unopposed. Do you remember? For Parliament. He said we cannot lose such a colossal within Parliament. You know, so here you have an MPP MP wanting an NDC MP to be retained in seat because he wanted him back in Parliament.
True.
I mean, he was non-partisan. He was looking at the interest of Parliament. That we can't lose this institutional memory. And I think it was reciprocal. Alban Bagbin was the same with Che Mensa Bonsu. So I think when you have that relationship, the new relationships that can be forged, that will help determine how more mature the interactions can be between the new minority leadership and the majority.
Very well. This is the news review on Breakfast Daily here on Channel One Television. We'll take a break here, but when we come back, there were some 4 disputed seats, which results, of course, were in contention. The High Court ruled that the EC completes collation of these seats. Subsequently, the EC has done that, completed 3 and declared same for the New Patriotic Party and its parliamentary candidates. There's one outstanding, Ablekuma North, but the NDC has not given up yet. They're going to court. When we come back, we'll look at that story. Stay with us here on Breakfast Day.